I'm going to get a little wordy on this because I have to tell you this story. I think that most of the things that we run our cars and our air conditioners are coming from technology from the turn of the century. Not the last one, the one before that. And there's not much we can do about it because a lot of it is driven by regulation. But I believe it's possible, because of the properties of CO2, it's possible to have a engine that's run off the same concept that is very, very efficient, or even uses just the heat from the air around the vehicle to generate enough power to keep the batteries charged on an electric car. So maybe it's possible to drive up to your grocery store on a hot summer day, go into the grocery store, buy some ice cream, come out, your car will be cool and your batteries more charged. So I really believe this is possible, and the next simulation is what I want to show you how to do that. Before I tell you that story, I want to tell you this story. I was the young engineer, lab manager in a lab doing automotive AC testing for the trying to reduce the amount of energy we use to cool down our cars. And one of my techs decided on the night shift that he would make a little device where he taped it up and he squirted into a bottle or a jar R134A mixed with the oil. And then as soon as he did that, it exploded and it cut his gut open. And it was the worst accident we've ever had. Now, I didn't tell him to do it. It wasn't my idea. But anyway, my point is that these refrigerants can be very volatile. So basically, one of the things I like really a lot about CO2 is CO2 would be a good refrigerant, with the exception of it can't be a liquid above 85 degrees. It's going to go into what's called a supercritical phase, and then before it gets to superheat. This supercritical phase is like not a gas or a liquid, but the pressures can skyrocket. So basically, if we take, in this simulation, we take liquid CO2 and we drip it onto a plate, it's going to, on a hot plate, it's going to have to increase in pressure, and by a lot. CO2 can be very, very high pressures. We've done this in simulations in some machines for Mercedes in Germany. But basically, I want to use the property of CO2 because of its really high pressures, and it's going to go up to 1200, 1400, 1500 psi, which is going to rival that of a combustion engine in a piston of 800 psi. So we take this liquid, we squirt it onto that hot plate. That hot plate takes and expands that gas, and the pressure skyrockets, gets much higher. And then once the piston has moved down, we release that gas very quickly and cool it below that 85-degree point, turn it back into a liquid. And then we pump it back up as a liquid and use the density ratios. But basically, I believe we could have cars that have very little to zero exhaust because we are not using a rapid combustion in the engine itself. I think it's time. It's time to get rid of the internal combustion engine.